What's up again, everybody? I'm Clayton. Welcome back to Ages of Film. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Christine from 1983. I do apologize up front. It is storming pretty hard right now where I'm at outside here. So if you're hearing some thunder or some heavy rainfall that's distracting, I do apologize in advance. I can't do anything about the weather, homie. All right, but what I can do is make sure that I review this movie for you freaks and release it for all you guys to enjoy. We ball. What's up? All right, so Christine, 1983. Let's talk about it. Directed by John Carpenter, the great John Carpenter, master of horror. Yeah, and this is definitely one of my favorite Carpenter films. Easily top five. I've always loved this movie. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about what I like about it, what I don't like about it. This is just my opinion on this movie. I would love to hear yours. Let me know in the comment section what you think about Christine. All right, is this your favorite Carpenter film? Do you like it? Have you seen it? Whatever you want to let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're here, and let's get rocking. So Christine is really a story about how obsession and the pursuit of identity through external means can ultimately corrupt and consume a person. And I like that story. This is one of the positives for me is the story in Christine and what the meaning narratively is and what I draw from it. I think it's the meaning is very clear. Narrative meaning there is very, you can see it there. How it's directed. Carpenter directs it very well. I like a film that has something to say. Yeah, Christine definitely has something to say about power, corruption, loss of identity, all that stuff. It pursues clear themes: toxic attachment, loss of self, isolation, and the seductive nature of control. Using Christine as a tool that essentially becomes a source of both confidence and a destructive force that basically ends up replacing Arnie's humanity. So she's kind of both a blessing and a curse in that regard. So clear themes, really good story that has meaning to it, and something to say that is worth telling, in my opinion. So the writing is very strong as far as narratively, themes, story structure, all that stuff. Strong positives for me with Christine. The characters I think are really good for the most part. I like it. Our main character here is Arnie Cunningham, and he's kind of our central character that we're following from start to finish. It's really his story. He has a clear arc in the film. We're introduced to him. He's kind of this nerdy, innocent kid that gets bullied, gets picked on, and through Christine, he gains a sense of confidence, some power, and kind of is seduced by that. And so the arc is basically him going from this kind of innocent, pure guy to losing himself and becoming the ugly side of himself and of human nature, really. So yeah, good clear arc for Arnie Cunningham. His best friend Dennis in the film, I like Dennis quite a bit. I think the actor does a good job playing him, brings natural charm to that character, brings a natural sense of friendship and loyalty to Arnie from Dennis. So just a really strong, good character that's directed well, acted well. He may not be written all that well in the sense of, there's not many layers to him, him or Lee, who we'll talk about next, but kind of like The Fog in the sense of it's not their story. They don't need layers and layers for them. central focus of this film is on Arnie. He's the character that we're supposed to be honing in on and following. It's his story that we're following. That's being told. It's through his perspective. And Dennis and Lee are side characters who are witnessing this story of Arnie's ultimate destruction unfold. So side characters like that in this type of story don't need layers to them. They're there to serve a specific purpose, a specific supporting role to the main character, and they do that, and they do that well, in my opinion. So I like Dennis. I like the character. I like the performance. Him and Arnie, I think, have good natural chemistry. I believe that they're friends. That comes across on screen for me. And I like seeing Dennis's loyalty to Arnie, even though he sees Arnie going down a dark path, and a path that he shouldn't be on. Dennis doesn't leave him. He's willing to fight for Arnie, protect Arnie against the bullies, even, and try to save Arnie. Ultimately, he doesn't succeed, and that's the tragedy of it. That's the horror of the film. The fact that Arnie does end up losing himself in the pursuit of power and identity, because he puts his identity in an external source, being Christine, rather than just finding himself and being true to himself internally. But yeah, I like the character of Arnie. I think his performance is really good. A very clear transformation, unfolds in the film. How he is represented in the first half as this kind of innocent bullied kid, and then as Christine seduces him and corrupts him, that descent into darkness really it feels natural. There's a clear shift in the performance that you can see, how the change in Arnie, by the effects of Christine that she's having on him. So yeah, really good performance. I'm bought in. I'm invested with these characters, largely due to the performances. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying these are Daniel Day-Lewis level performances, but they're good performances. They serve the characters well. They serve the script well. They serve the film well. And I like the characters. I like the performances. Lee, who is the love interest for Arnie in the film, she kind of keeps him grounded, tries to keep him attached to his humanity, and tries to be the exit for Arnie from the darkness that Christine is pulling him into. She's kind of his exit route, and is trying to encourage him to take that out. But he ultimately denies that, and rejects her. And his love's ultimately greater for Christine than it is for Lee, and even really Dennis. And we see that unfold, that tragedy unfold. But Lee, again, not very deep, not very layered, but functional. She serves a purpose. She serves it well. She's very charming, very pretty. And I think, that character functionally serves a purpose here. And so, I like that with her as well. They're not wasted characters in this film. They are characters that are serving a functional role, moving the plot. They represent something significant to the story. They serve an actual purpose here. So, yeah, I do like the characters in the film. Carpenter's direction is just on point in this film. It is on point. The tone is kind of it's kind of this eerie tone throughout the film that kind of lingers all the way. Even the opening up, in the car factory, when we see Christine, you have Bad to the Bones playing as the music, over that opening sequence in the car factory, and just seeing how Christine starts off killing one of this mechanic that gets gets in her. And yeah, just right from the beginning, Carpenter does a really good job kind of creating and establishing this kind of dark twisted tone. The score is brilliant, this kind of the synth, the heavy synth in the film creates this kind of cold hypnotic atmosphere throughout the film. Carpenter uses it really well. He's a master at knowing when to use score, when not to use score, and when to just let things build, tension build naturally, organically. That happens in this film. He directs the tension very well. He directs the score and the soundtrack very well, knowing when to use score, when to use a certain song, when to just let things breathe. He's a master at those things. And also the 50 soundtrack also, plays a big part in giving Christine kind of her own personality. She plays these 50s type of songs on the radio, in the car, and they're kind of these naturally, these 50 songs were kind of fun, hip songs at the time, but Christine uses them in a very sadistic, dark type of way that it just adds layers of horror and tension to that character of Christine. I mean, it's a car film. It's a car horror film. She's this badass car that Carpenter directs and makes terrifying. And a lot of that is done through Carpenter's direction. And he just, yeah, the way that he directs the score and the soundtrack is brilliant. Christine also in just the cinematography in the film is really good. Carpenter often frames Christine in a very pristine type of way, and it's contrasted to a kind of decaying environment around her. So the way that Carpenter shoots Christine, the framing of it, and how he positions Christine throughout this film is just really brilliant, because it really enhances that tone and the way that Carpenter wants you to view Christine, and also the way that Arnie views Christine. She's this kind of immaculate, elegant, really beautiful, sexy car that is often framed against a very decaying background and backdrop, whether it's the mechanic shop, whether it's, that really old mechanic shop throughout the film that Arnie is working in. It's really just run down and decaying. Even Arnie is decaying throughout the film. His soul is decaying throughout the film. And then there's the gas station that blows up, and you see Christine on fire, which is just an awesome shot. And she's, chasing down the bully, Buddy. And yeah, just the way that Carpenter shoots Christine really adds layers to both the mystic kind of nature of Christine and the dark side of Christine, but also the beauty of her, and why she's so seductive, and what it is that allows her to kind of corrupt Arnie. It's her looks, the way that she presents herself. She comes off as this really beautiful, thing that can bring a lot of power to Arnie's life, but really it's the evil within. It's the apple. It's the poison apple, right? The on the outside looks really good, but inside is venomous and is ultimately death. And yeah, a lot of that again is just in Carpenter's brilliant direction, and how he frames Christine. A lot of it also is low angle shots with slow pushes, slow zoom in shots from low angles. Those things in cinematography are used to evoke a sense of power of the person in the frame. And so Carpenter shooting those low angle, slow move, panning in shots, create this feeling of power for Christine. It makes her feel more, more powerful and alive, really, of the way that Carpenter shoots it. And also strategic lighting as well in the cinematography is also really good. Whether it's just the high beams of Christine against a dark night background, how the high beams flicker on, and then we hear that engine roar as she chases down Billy or Buddy. Just the lighting throughout the film, Carpenter knows when to bring it up, when to kind of tune it down a little bit. And I'm pretty sure this was Dean Cundey as the DP in the film, and it's noticeable because he does great job, man, with lighting and controlling lighting, and just does a great job with that. So yeah, really enjoyed the cinematography in the film and how Carpenter frames shots, how he uses the camera to create tension, how he uses it to create tone, to maintain tonal consistency throughout the film, how he uses it to frame certain characters and certain shots, just really, really well directed. The editing in the film is really good. Strong editing by Carpenter as well. Very deliberate, very controlled pacing that allows Arnie's transformation to feel gradual and believable. It doesn't, nothing feels like it lags too much or is rushed too much as far as how the story in Arnie's transformation unfolds. I think the editing is really good there by Carpenter for the most part. Just a couple negatives that I think are kind of due to the editing, but also script issues. But by and large, I think the editing is really good here. Very controlled, very deliberate by Carpenter, and it's synchronized in a way that again makes the transformation feel organic and very believable and natural. And that's key in this type of film and story, for the editing to not feel rushed, but to let things breathe and to have everything feel organic. And that, and timing as well. That's another big thing with editing is you have to have good timing when you're putting a scene in, when you're how often you're putting certain scenes in. Carpenter does a really good job with the timing of the editing in this film. Timing as far as setting up kills, setting up the repairs by Christine when she rebuilds herself. He lets scenes breathe. He doesn't, cut prematurely. He also doesn't prolong shots either. He very controlled editing, and I think it's very strong in the editing department as well. The visual effects are really strong, positive for me. Everything was practical effects here. The self repair scenes by Christine when she just self repairs, that's all practical effects, and it gives the film this kind of real, tangible weight to Christine and to the effects. It feels real, it looks tangible, like it's actually happening. You could actually be there, watch it, touch it, feel it. And he does a really good job with the visual effects in the film, and directing that and how he directs it. It just has that tangible quality to it. And that's really strong visual effects and good directing of the effects by Carpenter. And just the overall how he directs the tone, the horror effect, which is always a big a thing for me when it comes to horror films. Is it scary? Is the horror there? Is it present? Is it well directed? Is it consistent? A horror film should be horrifying. It should have a horror presence in it, a horror vibe about it throughout the film, and I think this one does. I think Carpenter directs that really well for all the reasons I've already explained. So yeah, he lets the themes and the horror emerge naturally through action and tone. He doesn't force anything, and that's that's key here. So, as far as negatives, there are just a few negatives I do have with Christine that hold it back some. It's a film that I love, but a few issues I do have with it. One is with the Arnie and Lee relationship, their dynamic, and the dynamics of their relationship. It feels rushed and it feels forced. We see Lee, and she's this very pretty girl. The guys at school have the hots for her, and then Dennis asks her out, and she rejects Dennis. And then the next time we see her, she's like already with Arnie. It happens because the script needs it to happen. It doesn't happen organically. There's no build up to their relationship. They're just already together. And that feels forced to me. It doesn't, we don't really see them have any interaction prior to that. And then when they are on screen together, their relationship feels very forced. There's not really any positive interactions between Arnie and Lee. They're almost all negative. So we don't get to see what it is in Arnie that Lee is attracted to, that made her want to go out with him. And so I feel like their relationship probably, I think it's a mixture of the writing and the editing. I think it could have been edited a little better, but at the same time, you need it to be in the script as well for it to be edited better. So for me, that's something that's always not really landed for me. I feel like there's a disconnect there between Arnie and Lee, and the way that their relationship is handled. I feel like it's a bit rushed and it's a bit forced. It doesn't happen organically. And that's honestly a big part of the film is Arnie's relationship to Lee because of what she represents thematically in the film. So I feel like that could have been handled a bit better. The bullies, although Buddy is an effective bully, he definitely comes across that way. On paper, on the surface, I feel like they feel a bit one note. There's only like really one interaction we see with the bullies and Arnie. And they feel kind of just stereotypical bullies, kind of one note, one sided. And we really only see that one instance. I'm gonna get there eventually. At the school, in the I think it's in the cafeteria, and that's it. But again, that's kind of an important thing that you need to land, because that their bullying of Arnie is what ultimately leads him to wanting to find Christine and buying her and losing his self, and causes them to want to pursue a better, more polished identity. So I feel like the whole bully interactions there could have maybe been one or two more interactions with them, and so we get to really see the effects of that bullying on Arnie, and the way that they come across again feels a little just stereotypical and one-sided, one note. I would like to have seen them be handled a little bit better, for me personally. And then Arnie's death, I feel like just kind of happens subtly. Like, it just happens, but there's no real emotional weight to it. Like, this is Dennis's best friend. This was Lee's boyfriend. And yet we don't really get to see or feel the weight of his death in this film. He kind of just dies, and then Dennis and Lee just move on. They fight Christine, ultimately beat her, but we don't see really the emotional effect that his death had on his best friend, on Dennis, on Lee, on these people that really cared about him. And I feel like that misses a little bit. Like, and that's something that I would have really liked to have been there to really add that emotional layer to the film. It just doesn't fully land to me. So that's basically it for negatives. Not very many, but just enough to kind of hold it down a little bit. So my overall rating here for Christine, guys, I'm gonna give this a 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie. I love this film. Christine is a banger. It's one of Carpenter's best, one of my favorites from Carpenter, and yeah, just a great film, and always rewatchable too. I can always come back to Christine and have a good time with it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Christine, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree with my rating? Do you disagree? Have you seen it? Have you not seen it? I would like to know if you haven't seen Christine. I probably just spoiled it for you. But hey, what can I say? But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, you freaks, kick it and rock on.